See, we couldn't have the Avengers in real life because if we did, we'd ask them to do every goddamn thing. They'd get annoyed with us and then we'd be fucked up because they'd abandon us. What's going on, everybody? It's the Granddad of Granddad Woolly, and you are here again for another edition of Woolly Reviews Film Data. Today we got a movie review today. We're going to be talking about the long-awaited sequel to one of the most popular superhero franchises out right now. These niggas back. They finally came back with it. We gonna holler at it. Talking about Avengers Age of Ultron. Now, for those who don't know who the Avengers are, it is a group of some of the most popular superheroes from the Marvel franchise. You got Iron Man, Hulk, Thor, Captain America, Hawkeye, Black Widow. They a super group. They like the Wu-Tang Clan of Marvel, probably. I don't know. Actually, I think that's X-Men. So this is probably like Tribe Called Quest of Marvel. Whatever. They got some shit going on. And they had the original movie in 2012, which was a huge success. And now they've been waiting, and we've been waiting for the follow-up, and it's finally here. So now let's talk about the shit and see if it's just as good or better than the original. So the general plot of the movie is this. The Avengers are able to obtain the scepter that was held by Loki from these Russians who were experimenting on it. They get it back, and they're going to use the power from that to make this peacekeeping program called Ultron that's supposed to be headed by Tony Stark. Now, Tony Stark, being himself, decides to take it to a new level and tries to use it to make these cybernetic artificial intelligence robots to police the world or save the world or help the world, some shit. And generally, that's a terrible idea because shit like that always goes wrong. And he does it anyway without telling anybody. And by doing that, the program goes haywire and it actually ends up creating this actual physical form of Ultron who only seeks out to destroy the world, but it thinks that it's doing it in a way that's peaceful and it's going to be able to save the world by destroying it. So now the Avengers have to get together and stop Ultron before he actually carries out his plan, and he's actually recruited two new characters who are two new, I guess, superheroes or supervillains, Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch. One who's really fast and one who can do telekinesis. And Scarlet Witch actually infiltrates the minds of all the Avengers to actually get them to shift apart. And a whole bunch of shit happens where the Avengers are pretty much in hiding because everybody thinks that they fucked up, which they pretty much did. And now they have to find some way to redeem themselves as well as save the world before Ultron destroys the shit. That's pretty much the general plot of the movie. So now let's talk about if this movie really lives up to the hype and if it actually is better than the first one. Now, one of the heaviest aspects of this movie is the action of it. There's a lot of special effects, a lot of action, a lot of shooting, a lot of fighting and everything like that. And what I found about this movie is that the fight scenes, even though they are generally good, they do seem a bit rushed at times. And you do kind of feel like they're just doing it just to kind of get shit over with and move the movie along. Even though it's 2.5 hours long, it feels like these fight scenes in the very beginning are kind of rushed. They use a lot of quick cuts. They don't do a lot of panning. It's just like one shot, one shot, one shot. And it really kind of feels chaotic and all over the place. But you do get that, you know, traditional Marvel superhero look. Everybody gets their own time to shine. All the heroes get, you know, time to showcase what they can do, even though we already know what the fuck they can do. The action sequences on here are fairly good, but I've seen better in Marvel movies, and I thought it would have been a little bit better and tighter and more focused, seeing as this is the Avengers sequel. But I got really nothing too bad to say about that, but that's another thing that I really did pick up on the movie. Also, the plot of the movie really focuses mostly on Tony Stark and Captain America out of all the Avengers. You do see a little love story going on between the Hulk and Black Widow. And you also get to find a little bit more about Hawkeye's personal life. But it really does seem like the core of the movie is really centered around mostly Tony Stark and a little bit of Captain America. But you also get, you know, a little bit of backstory as far as what happens with Scarlet Witch's character and also Quicksilver's character and why they are who they are. How Ultron wants to do these things and how he wants to take over the world and what he sees. You also see the return of War Machine and also Nick Fury. They make cameo appearances back in the movie. So it's a lot of motherfuckers in this movie that they cram in here. And sometimes it seems like it's too many motherfuckers in this movie. That's what the Avengers is about, getting all these characters together. But I think that it's oversaturated at times. But it is a generally good movie and everybody plays their role respectively and well. And for the most part, with the Avengers, it's really nothing more different than what you would get from any other superhero movie. You get the action, you get the powers, you get the bad guy comes and shows up and the good guys got to fight him and the good guys end up winning ultimately. It's the same formula and format that you get with all superhero movies, especially Marvel. It's just the fact that now that they have all of these flagship superheroes in this movie, it kind of raises the stakes. And because this is the sequel to a very popular Avengers movie that came out 3 years ago, but I do feel like it is a worthy sequel, but I feel like I didn't get anything much more out of it than the first one. There is a little bit more action to it, and then you get more deeper with the characters, and you can see they have a bigger bond, but it does feel like you know, I feel like it should have been, something felt missing out of this movie. I don't know what, I can't put my finger on it, but it just felt like it could have been a lot bigger and better than what it was. It's a very good movie. I did like it. I did enjoy it. But it just feels like this Avengers movie I feel like the other movies before it, like the side movies, like the Captain America movie and Iron Man 3, you got more out of them than you got in this Avengers movie. But it kind of ties along those stories from those movies in here, and it kind of incorporates little elements here. I'm not going to tell you what, but it does pull it along well with their whole phase. I think they're doing like the phase 1, phase 2 shit, and this is the end of phase 2. But I think out of the ending of the phase 2, they could have ended it a little bit stronger, but it is a good movie. And there is a little bit of a thing at the end that kind of tells you that there may be an Avengers 3 or a phase 3. I'm not going to tell you what it is. I'm not the spoiler guy. But for the most part, Avengers Age of Ultron is what you would expect. High action, good chemistry, you know, the standard superhero format of good guys versus the bad guy and they win and all that shit. And you also get to see a little bit more of the personal lives of some of the Avengers. And you also get a teaser of some of the newer Avengers who may end up being in the next movie, if it is what it is going to be. So my final verdict, I'm not saying that Avengers Age of Ultron is an all-around solid superhero sequel, even though there are a few things here and there that I'm nitpicking on. All I'm saying is that the action scenes are really good, even though they do feel rushed at times to me, and the dialogue between the characters is very, very nice. It's a bigger bond between the Avengers, even though they do have their sort of moments where they riff from each other. But I just think that this movie could have been a little bit better than what I expected it to be, even though I mean, it's on a high pedestal. You had a really good, successful first movie, and the movies that they're doing in between that to build these up were really good as well. But I felt like it could have been a stronger closeout. But it was pretty strong, but I feel like it could have been super, super strong if it was done a little bit better. But nothing more to really say. So for me, I gotta say that Avengers Age of Ultron just makes it to me to be a Granddad approved. So go watch it. It just dropped today. It's out. Everybody's going to go by see this movie if you haven't already seen it. And it's just a superhero movie like any other superhero movie, just with a lot of motherfuckers in it and a lot of action. What more can you ask for? So, Avengers Age of Ultron. It's Granddad approved. Just made it, but it's Granddad approved. Flip it. Alright guys, that's going to do it for today's video. Make sure you give me a thumbs up and drop a comment. Tell me what you think of Avengers Age of Ultron if you've seen it. If you haven't seen it, like I said, it's out right now. Pretty damn good movie. I had super high expectations for it, so they didn't meet them, but for the most part, it's a good fucking movie. Previous videos on the side, as well as my music video. Check those out, showing some love. And as always, Twitter, Facebook, SoundCloud, Instagram. Links in the description below. And subscribe. Button on the screen, button below. Woolly Reviews, twice a week. Gaming channel. Check that out. And I got nothing more to say. So until next time I take my leave, Granddaughter, Avengers Age of Ultron, it's pretty damn good. Could have been better than me, but pretty damn good. I'm out of here.